For decades, really. The global order of air power felt like it was set in stone. You had the US and Russia as the undisputed heavyweights, and China, with its absolutely massive fleet, was just assumed to be locking in that number 3 spot. But the 2025 rankings just dropped, and they have sent some serious shockwaves through the military world. And the reason why is pretty fascinating.
And there it is. This is the headline from the World Directory of Modern Military Aircraft. The Indian Air Force has officially leapfrogged China to become the 3rd most powerful air force on the planet. Now, this is not just some minor little update. The report itself is calling this a dramatic recalibration of the entire strategic balance in Asia. So the big question is, how? How did this happen? Well, that's what we're going to break down. We're going to look at exactly how the Indian Air Force pulled off this historic milestone. And we're going to explore why the world is finally waking up to the fact that when it comes to air power, things like quality, training, and real-world combat experience are now crushing sheer numbers in the skies.
Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of the matter. How can an Air Force with way fewer planes be ranked higher than its much larger rival? The answer, it turns out, is all about one single metric. It's called the True Val Rating, or TVR for short. Now, this is not a simple head count of aircraft. Think of it more like a complex formula that measures a nation's actual combat effectiveness. It looks at the whole picture, everything from the age and tech of a fleet to its logistical supply lines, its maintenance crews, and even a country's ability to build its own planes. And when you look at it this way, the picture gets really interesting. On paper, yeah, the numbers look stark. China's Air Force has more than double the aircraft. We're talking over 3,700 planes to India's 1,700. But look at the TVR score. India pulls ahead, 69.4 to 63.8. So why? The secret is in the fleet balance.
Take a look at China's fleet. It's kind of lopsided. Over half of its entire force, almost 53%, is dedicated just to fighters. Now that shows a big focus on pure combat for sure, but it also reveals a potential weakness, a lack of diversity for different kinds of operations.
Now compare that to India. India has what the report calls a well-balanced mix. Fighters are a big piece of the pie, but not the whole thing, about 31.6%. But here's the kicker. Helicopters make up 29%. That gives them incredible airlift capabilities and options for all sorts of specialized missions. You see, the IAF isn't just a hammer, it's a surgical toolkit built to handle a much wider range of scenarios.
But maybe the biggest reason for India's rise wasn't found on some spreadsheet. It was proven where it counts, in the heat of battle, during a critical operation that really put all these theories to the test.
The operation was called Sindoor 2025. It was launched in response to a really brutal terror attack in Pahalgam, using a mix of its top-tier jets, the Rafales, the Sukhoi 30s, and the Mirage 2000s. The Indian Air Force was tasked with a tough mission: strike 11 heavily defended terror camps and Pakistani military bases.
And they did it in a jaw-dropping 25-minute window. Indian pilots actually managed to suppress Chinese-made HQ-9 radar systems and dodge the supposedly superior PL-15 air-to-air missiles. It basically proved that some of this advanced hardware has a bit of a paper tiger problem when it goes up against superior tactics, better training, and pilots ready to use precision weapons like the Scalp and Rampage missiles. And the fallout for Pakistan, which really depends heavily on Chinese military gear, was severe. They lost at least 12 aircraft during that 4-day conflict, not to mention over 100 military personnel. The Indian strikes also hit 8 bases, 3 hangars, and took out 4 radar sites.
And that, right there, is the core difference. This kind of combat-proven experience, the ability to plan and pull off incredibly complex, high-stakes missions when the pressure is on, that's an asset you just can't buy. It has to be earned.
This real-world experience, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's built on a foundation of 2 things that are a little less tangible but just as critical. It's people and its one-of-a-kind operational environment.
Look, you can always buy more hardware, but you have to earn expertise. And Indian Air Force pilots go through some of the most intense physical and mental training on the planet. They're constantly flying in joint exercises with other top-tier air forces like the US and France, sharpening their skills and making sure they can work seamlessly with their allies.
And on top of that, India has mastered a domain that terrifies most other nations: high-altitude warfare. Operating from bases like Leh and Thois, the IAF has written the playbook for fighting in the world's toughest terrains.
This gives India a huge strategic advantage, where the thin air and extreme cold make standard flying tactics basically useless.
But India isn't just sitting back and enjoying its new number 3 spot. Nope. The next goal is not just to keep its edge, but to become a true global aerospace powerhouse by building its own tech.
And this isn't just talk either. This is backed by some serious money. The government has a planned increase of nearly 37% in the IAF's capital budget for the next financial year. That is a massive investment in modernization and expansion.
A huge chunk of that budget is going towards some really ambitious new projects, all under this Atmanirbhar Bharat, or Self-Reliant India Initiative. We're talking about a massive deal for 114 new Rafale jets that'll be built right there in India, 60 new transport aircraft to beef up their already strong airlift game, more of their own homegrown Tejas fighter jets, and of course, the big one, the AMCA, India's very own 5th-generation stealth fighter.
So when you put it all together, it really points to a fundamental shift in how we think about military strength. As India keeps investing in its pilots, its experience, and a balanced high-tech fleet, it raises a really big question for military planners everywhere. Is the era of just counting planes to judge an air force's power officially over?